Now, when we tell you things about accountability, we're simply saying, we are simply saying that that when you choose something responsible, you are responsible for the resulting experience. And any experience you can have, you can be accountable to. You can be accountable to the reliance on others. The reliance on others to give you what you need, to give you what you need to presuppose you should be met, to presuppose you should be met by what you want. By what you want must be attended to, There is no one alive. There is no one alive whose responsibility it is to give you what you need, to give you what you need. Do you understand this? And because you look for others, and because you look for others to give you what you think you need, what you think you need, you assume you have the right. You assume you have the right to be an expectation, to be an expectation of care, when what you want, what you want, in fact, cannot be gifted to you, by anyone on this plane, This is good news. This is good news when you decide that your needs must be met, that your needs must be met by the man you married, the one you call a friend, the one who writes the checks, the one who sits in office, the one who sits in office. When you understand that your needs will not be met, that your needs will not be met in the ways you say they should, in the ways you say they should, you can begin to rise up. You can begin to realize the self as the one meeting the needs in a higher way. This does not mean you don't have a husband. You don't have a husband or a friend or an employer or an employer, but you stop giving them permission. But you stop giving them permission to be the one who will grant you your wishes, to be the one who will grant you your wishes, and instead you may receive them. And instead you may receive them from another source. Now, what could that source be? But the divine, or the source of all things, But how do you align to that? But how do you align to that? How do you grant yourself permission? How do you grant yourself permission to receive the good, that might be due you? There are several ways you see. There are several ways you see that you can be in receipt, The first is to expect. The first is to expect. I have the right to something. I have the right to something. I know my need will be met. I know my need will be met in a high way. The second is to say all of my needs are met. All of my needs are met before I even ask, which aligns you to the source of all things, Supply if you wish. And the final one we say, is how we teach you, by energetic accord. There is something you can claim. There is nothing you can claim that you cannot be in accord to, but how you move into accord. Or receptivity, in many ways is contingent on what you believe yourself to be, or what you're allowed, or what you are allowed. I am not allowed a lover. I am not allowed a lover, the lover that I want. The lover that I want will never want me back, assumes you without the lover, I do not want an employer. I do not want an employer. I don't want to be told what to do. I don't want to be told what to do. I will be unemployed. Commands that experience as well. I want to know God. I want to know oh God, but I want to be the only one that knows it. But I want to be the only one that knows it. The only one that knows it. If I am not special, if I am not special, there is no purpose in anything. There is no purpose in doing anything. Do you understand these ways of thinking? They are small self's claims. They are the small self's claims that are in fact being granted, by your experience, to transform them. And if you wish to transform them, you must transform. You must transform not only the asking, but the reliance upon the receipt. What does this mean, he asks? What does this mean, he asks? It always means that you receive only what you can have, only what you think you can have, not a penny more, and not a penny more. I am not worthy. I am not worthy is a claim you hold, And the claim of unworthiness. And the claim of unworthiness guarantees that the limitation you can expect will be on par with what you have decided you can have. Who says you are not allowed? You are not allowed, but you. Who would tell you that you can be loved, that you cannot be loved, but you. Who would tell you that there isn't a perfect way to live, and be solved. Another word, and be solvent, that wouldn't support you well. There is no one to tell you these things. There is no one to tell you these things, but you assume them to be so. You assume them to be so, and because you assume them to be so, you are granted the likeness. You are granted the likeness of your expectation. Now, when you want something, I want my needs met. You have to inquire. Who and why. What aspect of you is wanting his needs met? I'm the one who gets met. I am the one who gets met all the time, says the one who expects his needs met, who says the one who expects to get his needs met, and while he may make them, and while he may get them, what he is asking may not be in accord with his requirements for growth, I want the pretty girl, I want the handsome man, I want the handsome man, I want all the money, I want the fine home, I want the perfect spirituality. These may be the claims. These may be the claims of the small self, deciding what he should have, deciding what he or she should have to appease the aspect of the self, that wants to be met, through the frame she has inherited, through the frames that she has inherited. Well, somebody gets the pretty girl. Why not me? Somebody gets the fine home. I deserve that. Well, perhaps that is so. But why do you want what you want? And do you even inquire? There's nothing wrong. There is nothing wrong with wanting the pretty girl. You may say. There is nothing wrong with wanting the ugly one too. There is nothing wrong with wanting the ugly one too, because pretty and ugly are descriptors of the small self, They are codified expressions. That you have moved into agreement with and consequently give value to, and and consequently give value to, even though they're only ideas, even though they are only ideas. When you witness another in their perfection, they would be perfect. They would be perfect if they had 3 heads. If they had 3 heads and a tail, they would still be beautiful. They would still be beautiful just as they are. So if you wish a real prayer, ask to see the true beauty. Ask to see the true beauty in the one that you love, or know the one you love, as beautiful, and not put the cart before the horse. Do you understand this? Do you understand this? There is nothing wrong with a fine house. There is nothing wrong with a fine house. You may have the castle on the hill. But only live in 2 rooms. But if you're only going to live in 2 rooms, why do you need the castle? Why do you need the castle? Do you understand this? Do you understand this? Well, somebody gets to live in the castle. Well, somebody gets to live in the castle. Well, you're living in 2 rooms. Well, you're living in 2 rooms. Why do you need 20? Why do you need 20? That is not the perfect home for you. That is not the perfect home for you. That is the idea of the perfect home. That is the idea of the perfect home that you are assuming you should have. Why do you assume that? Why do you assume that? Because everybody said the bigger house is the better one. The bigger house is the better one, so it must be so. Why not instead ask? Why not instead ask for the home that will give you most joy, the home that will give you the most joy and the most expression and the most expression, feel most alive in, that you may feel the most alive in and enjoy to the fullest and be nourished by. If you have requirements for a home, I cannot walk up the steps anymore. Let it be on 1 floor. Let it be on 1 floor. Even that command would have been held in the first claim. It would not be a perfect home for you. It would not be a perfect home for you without an elevator, a moving staircase, or 1 floor only, Do you understand this? Do you understand this? We need to ask. So when you begin to ask, you must ask yourself, what part of me wants? What part of me wants? The part of me that's been duped. The part of me that has been duped by society who demands to get what he thinks he should have. I want to be a success. This is what success looks like. This is what success looks like because somebody told you what it meant to be successful, what it means to be successful. You ascribe to their belief. Their idea of success. Their idea of success may be your living hell. Did you ever think of that? I want a staff of 12. I want a staff of 12. I want somebody to run my bath water. I want meals brought to me on a tray. I want my meals brought to me on a tray. I want a little Pekingese. Who never has to be walked. I want a partner. Who shows up when I feel like seeing him. And no other time. Well, that life might entertain you for about 3 hours, and then you would be as lonely as can be. With the Pekingese and the servant, and the first thing you would want. And the first thing you would want would be to invite everybody to stay and hang out and get to know you. you and get to know you, because what you had claimed is a lonely life, is a lonely life. Do you understand this? Do you understand this? It sounded good. It sounded good, but it wasn't good. But it wasn't good. You'd rather have a friend. You would rather have a friend than a servant. You would rather draw your own bath. You would rather draw your own bath and perhaps cook your own meal. But you've decided that to be a rich man means you do rich man's things, what it means to be wealthy. What it means to be wealthy is to be prosperous, but what prosperity means very different things, to many different people, the richest man in any room, or woman in any room, or woman in any room is the one who knows her own true worth, because then she may claim it, in accord with it. Do you understand this? I am not worth much. Gets you just that. But what is worthy? Of one who knows his worth, It may not be the castle. Or the great beauty. It might be the love of his or her life. It might be the love of his or her life. But if she no longer loved, if she is not beautiful, are you no longer happy? Are you no longer happy if you don't have the great home? If you don't have the great home, if you put your faith in those things, you will have very little. Everything that is in form, is in transit, This building will not be here one day. The bodies you walk around in, will take another form, will have another form. They will be dust, then air. Then something else, one day, but everything will be changed. When you begin to realize what is always true, and agree to that, it will meet you. What does this mean, he asks? If you understand that the dignity of any human being, must be honored, you will know your own dignity. But if you dishonor others, you have dishonored yourself. If you realize the source of all things is not inhibited by anything other than your expectation, or denial of it, you can understand that the ability to be wealthy, whatever that looks like, may be known by anyone, because it is not dependent on your actions, in ascription to what you were taught, if you understand that being loved. If you understand that being loved is about agreeing to the worthiness of it, and giving it to yourself, and then giving it to yourself, because why would you deny yourself what you know you're worth? What you know you are worth, you will have love. Now he interrupts here. But what of those of us? That do not know? We can receive. That do not allow. Because we have been harmed. But do not agree. That do not agree to receive. Because we fear the cost. Of receiving. What do we do? We would like to answer this. You give permission. To be in receipt of a love, of a love that will remove the fear of it. The fear of it. You understand this? Do you understand it? This is a new teaching, Paul. This is a new teaching, Paul. You ask to receive. You ask to receive a love that is so great, it will release you. It will release you from the fear of love, by its very presence, but you must ask. And then be willing to let it come. You can claim anything, but if you don't want to receive it, but if you are not willing to receive it, you will not know it. You will not know it. Now, what that great love is. May come in any form. It may come from a pet. It may come from a pet. It may come from God itself. It may come from God itself. It may come from a romance. It may come from a friend. It may come from a friend. The only qualification is you must ask for that love. You must ask for that love to come with so much power, that it will move any resistance to it, because it is so powerful, To understand this, do you understand this? Paul is seeing the image. Paul is seeing the image of a machine that restarts a heart, that has been faltering, the electric shock. The electric shock is of an amplitude, to move the energy, and start again, that which has stopped, the power of the paddle, overrides the system that would deny the current, Do you understand this? Do you understand this? Or you must ask for something. So you must ask for something that is greater than you, and your own resistance, and expect to get it, not decide that it will come in the way, you think it should. It may not come from your child. It may not come from your child who doesn't speak to you, It may not come from the woman. It may not come from the woman that you would wed. It may not come from the parent. It may not come from the parent who never offered to you when you were young, who never offered it to you when you were young, but let it come. As it can, because it is there. Hero. Say this differently, hero, the Christ frequency, as we claim it, is this love, that can be known by you, in many different forms, Now, this is a teaching of reception. We want you to understand one thing, and we want you to understand one thing. You have the right to this. But you must agree to it. If you don't agree to it, you stay in conjecture. It's possible in Paris. It is possible that I can go to Paris is a fine start, but unless you board the plane. You are not going. Do you understand this? Do you understand this? It's possible I may be loved. It is possible I may be loved, unless you say yes. But unless you say yes, I am willing to receive it. I am willing to receive it. I'm willing to be moved. I am willing to be moved by it. I am willing to be claimed in it and by it to the extent that I will be known anew, You will be challenged. You will be challenged in movement, because the sediment that you have built, that you believe in so much, is obscuring the love, that is already there, that is already there and present for you, and present for you. Now when we go around the room. Now when we go around the room and we witness you each, and we witness you each, and we say these words, and we say these words, you are free, 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 you are free. We are announcing you. We are announcing you as free from the claims made for you, as free from the claims made for you or by you throughout time. Throughout time, and we will say that this agreement to be free must include your claims made in history, to abide by others' mandates, of who you should be, or how you must ask, what it should look like, to be as you are, He is interrupting. I thought you were going to do. You are here. We are doing them both this weekend. In different ways. We start with you are free. Because that is the requirement. For the one who can receive. For the one who can receive beyond the claims made for him. Or by him as a small self. Now when we work with you this way, we work individually. We will stand. We will enter Paul as fully as we may. You will be standing. We will witness you through him. We will announce you each. As you are in truth. You are free. You are free. And you may respond individually. I am free. That is the cohesion. That is the cohesion in vibration. We state the truth. You agree to it. In your altered state. Of coherence to us. And it allows you to release the requirement. Of fear that has kept you from your liberation. What are they releasing, he asks. Please say these words to them. All agreements made in fear. Throughout time. All fear by prescription, by law, by thought, by engagement form, by engagement with form in this low world, or parallel worlds, what you are letting go of. What you are letting go of is only what was never true, and has kept you in fear, and in freedom. And in freedom you may know yourself. As unbound, untethered by the data of history.